As a plugin user, it is very, very important that you understand how plugins affect your WordPress website. Plugins, as you know, are programs that add a specific kind of functionality or a general kind of functionality to your WordPress website. So it is kind of important that you understand how they also affect the overall performance and speed of your WordPress website. Now, when it comes to classifying plugins based on how they affect the performance of your website, there are three main categories. The very first category of plugins are the ones we refer to as the lightweight plugins. These are plugins that serve one very specific functionality. A classic example will be the display widgets plugin, with which you can use to determine what widgets you want to display on what sidebar. Such plugins tend to be very easy to use, and they have very little or no effect on the overall performance of your WordPress website. The second category would be the regular or normal plugins. And the reason why I said regular or normal with my hands like this is because regular, normal isn't exactly an official term to describe such plugins, but these kinds of plugins are plugins that are a bit more sophisticated than your lightweight plugins, and how they affect your performance of your website really depends on the kind of functionality that they offer. And most of the plugins you will be working with, or you tend to work with, fall under this category. The final category would be the heavyweight category. And again, the term heavyweight isn't exactly an official term to describe such plugins. So please don't go to some WordPress meetup and start telling them that, hey, I installed this heavyweight plugin yesterday. They'll look at you like, what are you talking about? You know, heavyweight is not an official term. It's just how I choose to describe such plugins. And if you have a better way of describing them, or you want to use a particular word to describe them, go ahead and please let me know if you feel there's a better way of describing such plugins. But these kinds of plugins tend to be very, very sophisticated, and classic examples are like the WooCommerce plugin, with which you can build an entire e-commerce store. You have the Visual Composer Page Builder plugin, with which you can build different kinds of web pages. We talk about the Visual Composer in the Page Builder section. Now, it is kind of normal that these plugins would affect the performance of your website a little bit. So as an example, if it takes your website, say, 5 seconds to load completely, when you install and activate a heavyweight plugin, it might take an extra second or two, or maybe even 3 seconds for your entire web page to load. Nothing too disastrous or too significant. If it takes a lot longer, then maybe there is something else wrong somewhere. So my advice to you is, if you plan on using heavyweight plugins, try to limit the number of plugins you use. And in fact, overall, it's always a very good idea to limit the number of plugins you use on your WordPress website. So if you plan on using multiple heavyweight plugins for one reason or the other, try using other plugins that would actually help to boost the performance and speed of your website, like cache plugins and other plugins like that. So that's it for the three categories of plugins. Now you know what they are and how plugins can affect the overall performance of your website. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the very next class.